Okay. This meeting is being held in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Annual notice of this meeting was published in the Union County Local Source and the Newark Star Ledger. Said notice was posted in the municipal building and a copy is on file with the office of the Borough Clerk. Fire exits are located in the directions I'm indicating. If you are alerted for a fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Proper notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of the meeting. Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Present.
Councilman Signorello.
Here.
Councilman Rabina.
Here.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Here.
Councilman Patel is here. Mayor Signorello.
I'd like to apologize for the beeping tonight.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in our dangers and sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay, there are no communications for review this evening, but we do have a proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. You guys want to come up, Vitale family? Come on. And Ro, they're in your ward. Why don't you come up with me?
Sure.
This is on you tonight. You ready to go? You've been coming here for a while. You should have practiced. I'm just kidding. We're so happy to have you guys here, and obviously, Vitale family, you guys have done a ton to raise awareness. Come over here, Rob. Raise awareness around cancers of all kinds, right? And obviously had your own struggles as a family, and we're happy to see you here. We're happy to see Team Teo here, right? Like, that was when I first got elected, and like I said, he's almost my size now, so like, still going strong. So this is just a little proclamation on behalf of the borough. I'll read it off. Whereas childhood cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in children, and 1 in 285 children in the United States will be diagnosed by their 20th birthday, and 43 children per day, or 15,000 children will be diagnosed with cancer annually in the United States. There are 40,000 children on active treatment at a given time. The average age of diagnosis is 6 years old compared to 66 for adults. 80% of child patients are diagnosed late with metastatic disease. And on average, there's been I'm going to round up, 1% increase in incidence per year since the mid-1970s. Two-thirds of childhood cancer patients will live with chronic health conditions. Approximately half of childhood cancer families rate the associated financial toxicity due to out-of-pocket expenses is considerably severe. And while researchers and healthcare professionals work diligently, dedicating their expertise to treat and cure children with cancer, too many children remain affected by this deadly disease, and more must be done to raise the awareness and find a cure. So I proclaim it Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the Borough of Roselle Park.
Thank you.
Yeah, go for it, bud.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
You're very welcome. You want to say anything?
You actually said it all.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank
yeah.
you.
And you guys still do the lemonade stand?
We did it this year.
Okay.
But we will be
It's going to go back. All right. So look for what this time next year?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
September.
All right, awesome.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks, guys. Yep, thanks for being here. Hey, Andrew. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Duh.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, may I have a motion to approve meeting minutes pending any corrections?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. May I have a motion to open the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody wishing to come up and speak on agenda items may do so. I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, reports. Rich, I see you first. You want to come up first?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's been a few months since I've been here, huh? All right, so tonight what I'd like to do is give you a quick synopsis of my June and July reports, and then August I'm going to get into a little more detail. So very quickly, for the month of June, the Code Enforcement Department issued 277 permits. On the property maintenance side, we have 15 court dispositions. 53 violations were also issued in June, and 17 court summonses. So going to July, we had 183 permits issued. We had 14 court dispositions, 51 violations, and 15 court summonses. Now we're going to get into August. Here I'm going to get a little more detailed. So for August, we had 184 permits issued. Total revenue through the end of August, $602,293. Sewer connection fees year-to-date, $352,517. COA development fees year-to-date, $2,384. There was also an off-site improvement fee that was collected in August of $50,000. In addition to that, we had 9 Uniform Construction Code violations. For property maintenance, we had 7 court dispositions with total fines year-to-date of $16,795, 20 violations, and 16 court summonses that were issued in August. As you can see as you drive up and down Westfield Avenue, the projects are moving along quite nicely. 10 West Westfield, Building A. Again, we still have a TCO issued for the 2nd and 5th floors. The reason why that the entire building hasn't been TCO'd is because they don't have adequate parking for those other floors. So Capadaglia is working on that. One of the solutions is going to be to try to obtain a TCO for Building B just for the parking area. That way then they can fully occupy Building A. So they are working on that quite diligently at the present time. Last Friday, I issued a temporary certificate of occupancy for 450 West Westfield, which is the first building on the Fernmore project. That does not include the amenity spaces or the pool, but includes all the residential units. So that has been completed, and paperwork obviously was sent to our administrator and our chief financial officer because that project is a pilot project. Otherwise, if anybody has any questions?
Yeah, just one quick one, Rich, and maybe this is more of a Ken question. Oh, actually, we have Fran here too. So the additional tax revenue that comes for the additions and the pilot, does that kick in when they get TCO or when they actually start renting their first apartment? Like, when does the clock start? I don't know. Or Fran, you might know too.
I'm going to defer to Fran on that.
Yeah, it's good that you're here.
Fran McManaman, Scotland and Bauman, Redevelopment Council. That's set forth in the financial agreement, but generally it's upon TCO.
Okay, got it. Cool. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Rich.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, come on. Looking dapper.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I put the Rich Beluccio glasses on, bear with me. So I submitted my August report. I just wanted to highlight a couple of items in the report. On August 20th, I attended the funeral services for Roselle Park Crossing Guard and former First Aid member June Stark. June was a lifelong resident of Roselle Park, and she dedicated over 27 years of service to ensuring the safety of our kids in town. Our hearts go out to the Stark family for this immeasurable loss, and may she rest in peace. October 27th and 28th, the Traffic Safety Unit conducted a pedestrian decoy enforcement detail in an effort to bring awareness to pedestrian crossing as we prepare for the new school year that started yesterday. The detail focused on the crossing areas of Chestnut Street and Lincoln Avenue and Locust Street and Webster Avenue. There are 14 vehicles stops conducted, resulting in 11 warnings and three summonses. On August 30th, the Roselle Park Community Policing Unit met with Dan Patel, who is the owner of 7-Eleven located at 573 West Westfield Avenue. Dan partnered with the police department for the free Slurpee program coupon giveaway to the young bicycle riders who are wearing their proper safety helmets while riding in the borough. I want to thank Dan for the collaboration in promoting bicycle safety in town. After learning of this initiative, Michael Antonucci from Dee's Hut on Fayette Avenue wanted to join in these efforts, seeing what a good thing we were doing. Dee's Hut also partnered with the police department and is giving coupons out for free hot dog and soda for this bicycle safety initiative. I want to thank Dee's Hut for this collaboration enhancing the safety effort. During the month of August, the Roselle Park Policing Unit sponsored a school supply drive for students of the Roselle Park School District who may not have the ability to afford such items. Residents and police officers have dropped off donated supplies at police headquarters during the month of August. All of the donated supplies will be delivered to the school district officials next week. The school officials will distribute the items to the children who are in need of such items. Thank you to all the residents and officers who participated in this program. I recently received several complaints on the 600 block of Fayette Avenue in regards to speeding. Councilman Rabine, I received your message as well as the mayor. With that, we'll be having a frequent traffic detail at this location to address the speeding concerns. Spoke to the officers. They'll be detailed daily throughout the day.
I saw them out there today, as a matter of fact, around 5.
Yes, sir.
So thank you.
So in regards to the radar sign that was at that location, there was some question about that. It was moved. We spoke about this earlier on Fayette and Lincoln due to the sign being struck by a delivery truck at that location. It was in a poor location. And then also we enhanced the crossing guard at Lincoln and Fayette, and I thought it was better suited and more safety concerns were there for the speeding sign to be at that location. That's why we moved it. And I have one last thing for you. Councilwoman Lyons, you'll appreciate this one. So on 9/3/2024, the Roselle Park Police Department arrested Pamela Armstrong of Newark in connection with a month-long investigation for multiple package thefts that have been occurring on the 300 block of Chestnut Street, specifically the 304 Chestnut Street location at the apartment complex. Incident to the arrest, Armstrong was found to be in possession of suspected crack cocaine, heroin. She was subsequently charged with 3 counts of theft, 2 counts of possession of controlled substance, 1 count of drug paraphernalia. Armstrong was then lodged into the Union County Jail pending her court date. We were able to probably close out about 10 package theft jobs within the month
Awesome.
from
Thank you
that
so
arrest.
much. Wow.
That was good.
Excellent work.
Thank you.
Any questions for Chief Reno? Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Other chief? My second favorite chief? Just kidding, Steve. You're tied.
No.
You're tied. You got a really cool truck, though. I was actually just parking by. That's a cool truck.
Nice. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to go over a couple of things. Over the summer, we participated with the community cool down events. I think they were really good, successful. We had some really good hot days for that. Just some updates on what we've been doing. Our hose and ground letter testing, which is done annually, has been completed. Our pump testing has also been completed. We're now working on getting all of our annual maintenance done on our apparatus. We have some upcoming training in the next month or two where we're going to be doing vehicle extrication training. The fire department's completed walkthroughs of 10 West Westfield, the A building, and also of the Fernmore property to 450 West Westfield, so that the members were able to get a tour of the building, get an idea of the layout, the standpipes, so we can pre-plan for that. And just in the next week, the members of the fire department will be traveling to Wildwood to attend our annual Relief Association convention.
Cool. Any questions for Chief Thompson? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Ruben? Bill, you're in like the professional area. I'm like almost going to call you up for a report. You got anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. So last month, our seniors enjoyed a series of exciting trips to various destinations. Trips like to the casinos of Point Pleasant, historical Weehawken grounds, Seaside Heights, and the Ground Zero. On August 14th, we had a fantastic turnout at our second family swim night, with over 60 families joining us for an evening of fun. I want to extend a big thank you to Councilman Jay Rupina, Councilman Large Joe Signoro Jr., and Roselle Park Boy Scouts Troop 56 for their support and participation in making the event memorable for everyone. For the upcoming events, tomorrow we'll be having annual Hispanic, Latino, and festival from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Michael Park. This event promises a lively evening filled with food trucks, a dance party, and a special concert by Las Nueve del Sabor. It's a Latin and South American band based in Roselle Park. The borough will be holding its annual September 11th Remembrance Service on Wednesday, September 11 at 7 p.m. at Calico Memorial Park. We're going to have Roselle Park High School band performing at taps. It's going to be a short ceremony at the Memorial Park. On Saturday, September 28th, we will have our 10th annual Roselle Park Arts Festival. This year's event will be bigger and better than ever, featuring over 75 vendors, professional artists, a beer garden, street artists, crafts for children and adults, and performances at 3 different locations. This free event is open to all, and it runs from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Finally, on Saturday, October 5th, we will be celebrating our 9th annual Festival of India at Roselle Park High School. This event is a great way to ensign yourself in Indian culture with free food, music, and dance. Festivities begins at 5 p.m. with refreshments from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., followed by Garba and Ras dance starting at 7 o'clock. Just a reminder that the center will be closed from September 8 to 18 for a special election. The scheduled morning exercise classes for seniors have been moved to the youth center, and all the programs and activities have been canceled during other programs and activities has been canceled during this period. However, the transportation for trips and essential needs will be provided to Roselle Park seniors during this time. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. And just want to highlight this, we've had in Union County since, when did they start the early voting locations? Was it 3 years ago?
Yes.
So we've been advocating.
2021.
2021, I think, yeah, 3 or 4 years. There was a early vote, or there is an early voting center normally in Roselle in the Amalfi Center, and the other one I think is closest to us is in Union County College. We've been advocating to try and get one here, so I hope everybody takes advantage of that week during the Casano Center, even though it's a odd special election. It's a good test run to potentially get one in the future, and you can go vote. I vote early all the time. It's easy, get out of the way, don't have to worry about it on election day, and I could run around like a madman, chugging coffee, chasing Constance, get it out of the way early. Cool. Yeah. Anything else? Any questions for Rupen? Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
Andrew, Ken, you guys got anything?
Want me to go first? You have nothing? Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things. Just want to kind of give an update on a few things going on in town, and then highlight a couple things on the agenda. First and foremost, I want to welcome every student back to school. Hope they have a great school year. I want to commend the police department and Chief Reno, as well as Recreation Director Ranieri. Starting the school year off right for our kids, keeping everyone safe, and then kind of parlaying that into the after-school program, which kicked off today. So right now, we had a department head meeting this afternoon. Unfortunately, the director can't be here tonight. He's actually at a sporting event for kicking off the season for his daughter, so good luck to Bella. But we have about 90 kids registered for the after-school program, which is pretty typical, on a yearly basis for this stage of the game. People do trickle in. We did have people registering last night at 10 o'clock for today, so it's always chaotic the first week. We typically see those numbers kind of bump up. At the end of last year, we had about 130 for frame of reference, so we're at about 90. We ended last year at about a 130, so we're right on track with that. So again, hope everybody has a great school year coming up. A couple of the ongoing projects happening in town. Elizabethtown Gas continues the last phase of their major upgrade project throughout town up by Hamilton Place and Walnut Street. That entire project is slated to be completed this year. Right now they're working with homeowners to restore their service lines. More than likely the restoration of those roads will be in spring of 2025. And that will then end most of the large Elizabethtown gas work happening in town. New Jersey American Water is ramping up in areas that really haven't been touched by the borough. They're doing their lead line abatement program. The most recent or newest installment of that program is continuing next week on the 12th. They're at Park Place. So if you remember, we did some communications late last month. They were over on Park Place doing an assessment. They do some test pits. They determine whether or not there's lead or galvanized steel going to any of those houses. They determine that there are two with galvanized steel. So they're able to coordinate with the residents that are affected by that, address that all in one day. They will then follow that up thereafter with a full mill and pave of that street. And that process will kind of continue itself out in probably an irregular cadence until they're ready to open up, large areas and kind of do the evaluations from there. 2024 Capital Roads project, which was Grant, Pine, and Larch, substantially complete, subject to punch list items, tree planting, and curb painting at this point. Some upcoming projects, we have improvements to Grant Avenue, which is going to be between Locust and Chestnut Street predominantly. Yes, that's in front of the middle school in Robert Gordon. Yes, it's terrible timing. It's because we couldn't start the grant. The grant that we received for this project was $220,000. We didn't want to risk those funds. The grant program doesn't start until September 1st. We were not allowed to start before then. This work will not happen during the day. It will happen during the overnight hours, so as much as it will be an inconvenience for the residents directly in that area, it will not be an inconvenience to the 14,000 people that regularly traffic through there, not including all the parents and children and teachers and staff that are in that area. So we're going to try to mitigate it, improve the roadway, improve the infrastructure, make sure that it's safe, and make sure that it's as least impactful as possible. So there'll be more on that to come later. Avon Street and Berwyn Street, I know Councilman Johnson tried to get time to give you an update today, but unfortunately. DOT came back with certain amendments that we needed to the plans, which is not unusual. We have a tentative re-reviewal date of next Monday. Hopefully thereafter we'll have approval. As soon as we get approval, we're ready to go out to bid. For everybody's information. Boy Scout Park, improvements to Boy Scout Park is currently out to bid, receiving bids on the 17th. Improvements to Acker Park, we're still in kind of the conceptualizing phase. We need to do a site walk, so I'll be in touch with some of the council members to go out there and kind of get eyes on it and finalize what we're doing over in that area. Tree planting and sidewalk program are also inbound for the fall.
Is tree planting?
Tree planting is happening, and we had a department head meeting today. Greg and I are going to be working on it over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Greg B. Greg B.
DBW Greg. The only thing I would just add is we have the Chestnut Street ones that we planted last year. I think there's still got to be under warranty. Some of them died, so I would just.
Yep.
add
We
that.
have those.
It's a separate list, but
Yep.
yeah.
Just two other quick items just to note for everybody. So Resolution 20424 is purchasing PPE and clothing and equipment for the fire department. It's a $76,000 and change purchase. Just as a reminder, we received a $75,000 grant for that equipment from the state of New Jersey. It was the first time we were ever awarded that grant. It was the maximum we were able to get for that grant. So the out-of-pocket cost from the borough itself and from the taxpayers here is just over $1,000, and I think it's for 15 sets of turnout gear. So it's pretty substantial. It'll go a long way, and it's a very good thing. So I encourage you to vote affirmatively on that. And then Resolution 22424. Though the wording of the resolution is not really sounding like a grant, that's our Safe and Secure grant. If it sounds unusual, it'll be now. Usually it's way later than this. The state is oddly ahead of the game on this, as opposed to with most other things. That is actually applying for funds of about $45,000 to offset the cost of police salaries, which is a little in the grand scheme of things, but every little bit helps. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Cool. Ken? Cool.
I have a question for Ken. What's happening with the sewer bill? Is there any updates or anything like that?
Yeah, so I'll field that. So right now we're trying to figure out, we have the grant for $3 million. We've been tussling back and forth when exactly that $3 million hits our bank account, right? So we're gonna have to make a no-go decision on Monday, right, as to whether or not people are gonna have to pay the second payment. Ideally, hopefully we make some magic happen within the next 48 hours to confirm. We need to get the confirmation that we're going to get the $3 million, or at least most of that, in fiscal year 2024 to be able to waive the second payment, right? If we don't have that by Monday, unfortunately, we're going to have to still have the second payment. The silver lining of that is, it would be, the grant's going to do one of two things. It's either going to give us immediate relief this year, which is still my hope, or it allows us the ability to pay off the rest of what we owe to Elizabeth in one shot next year, and then sewer bills go back down to normal next year. So not optimal potentially for this year, but, it'll either have hopefully short-term effects or long-term solving the problem. And we'll have a yes or no decision by Monday, and we'll communicate that.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else? That's it. Okay. May I please have a motion to accept the reports of departments as submitted?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There are no ordinances for second reading. There are no ordinances for introduction. All matters listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Andrew, please read all resolutions listed on the consent agenda by title.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 20424 is awarding a goods and services contract to New Jersey Fire Equipment Co. for firefighter protective clothing and equipment pursuant to New Jersey State Contract Number 17 Fleet 00811 in an amount not to exceed $76,576.50. Resolution 20524 is establishing a policy fixing the effective date of 100% disabled veteran property tax exemptions. Resolution 20624 is promoting Class 1 laborer Joshua Regan to the position of apprentice operator. Resolution 20724 is appointing Ava T. McCool to the position of high school counselor. Resolution 20824 is appointing Gianna I. Gallows to the position of high school counselor. Resolution 20924 is authorizing the decommissioning of 6 municipal vehicles to be used during extrication training by the Roselle Park Fire Department. Resolution 21024 is memorializing the passing of crossing guard June Stark. Resolution 21124 is promoting alternate crossing guard Joseph Iscaro to the position of crossing guard. Resolution 21224 is appointing Patsy G. Lardiere to the position of alternate crossing guard. Resolution 21324 is appointing Eileen Atwood to the position of alternate crossing guard. Resolution 21424 is ratifying and affirming the actions taken by the Chief Administrative Officer to submit a grant application to the County of Union on behalf of the Borough of Roselle Park in connection with the 2024 Greening Union County Grant. Resolution 21524 is ratifying and affirming the actions taken by the Chief Administrative Officer to submit a grant application to the County of Union on behalf of the Borough of Roselle Park in connection with the 2024 Union County Kids Recreation Trust Fund Grant. Resolution 21624 is authorizing the tax collector issue a reduction and/or refund on one sewer utility bill in the total amount of $1,970. Resolution 21724 is authorizing the tax collector to reduce fourth quarter 2024 taxes in the amount of $250 for a disability deduction on one property. Resolution 21824 is authorizing the treasurer to issue a check in the total amount of $200 to be applied to a sewer account due to a payment application error. Resolution 21924 is authorizing special sick leave for a period not to exceed 90 days to Paul DeVito in accordance with paragraph F of Article 29 of the collective bargaining agreement between the Borough of Roselle Park and the Public Works Bargaining Group. Resolution 22024 is authorizing the Borough Clerk to auction vehicles no longer needed for public use. Resolution 22124 is authorizing the Borough Clerk to auction unclaimed vehicles. Resolution 22224 is requesting permission from the County of Union to hang a banner over Chestnut Street advertising the Borough of Roselle Park's 2024 Italian Heritage Festival. Resolution 22324 is directing the Municipal Land Use Board to review a draft redevelopment plan for Block 606, lots 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 36.01, and 38 of the municipal tax map of the Borough of Roselle Park, commonly known as 112 Locust Street, 101 West Westfield Avenue, 105 West Westfield Avenue, 111 West Westfield Avenue, 115 West Westfield Avenue, 121 West Westfield Avenue, 129 West Westfield Avenue, 133 West Westfield Avenue, 147 West Westfield Avenue, 159 West Westfield Avenue, along with all streets and rights-of-way pertinent thereto, as a
Non-condemnation.
Yeah, I kind of messed that one up.
No, it is. It's non-condemnation.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah. You got it.
yeah, but it's directing them to review the redevelopment plan for those properties. I actually think there's a typo at the end.
Okay.
You get the gist.
Yep.
I'll correct the title. It's de minimis. 22424, unless anyone has any questions. 22424 is a resolution approving participation in the State of New Jersey grant program administered by the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Office of the Attorney General.
Thank you. We pulling anything?
223?
Yep. And I think 221.
Yeah, I would request 221 for an amendment.
Okay, we'll pull 221. Any others? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the resolutions remaining on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 221-24?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, what do we got to fix on that?
Yeah, so the Police Department Records Bureau received 2 additional titles of abandoned vehicles today that are up for auction. I would recommend that they be added to the authorization resolution so that the borough doesn't have to pay additional storage fees for an extended period of time. So if I could, I'll just read those vehicles into the record. They would be added to the end of the list.
So you would add those vehicles into the record, and then we could have a motion potentially to.
If you're inclined to, the amendment would be to add those vehicles onto the list that's in the existing resolution, and then you would vote to adopt the resolution.
Cool.
So the vehicles are 2010 Honda, VIN number 2HG FG1B67AH518618. The minimum bid would be $450. It is at Sisbaros, as are the others. The second vehicle to be added is a 2010 Dodge pickup, VIN number 1D7RV1GP 3AS197145. Same minimum bid of $450. Same location, Sisbaros.
I'll make that motion. So move.
Thank you. Yep.
Second.
Andrew, please call the roll.
This is a motion
Oh,
on the
sorry.
amendment. Yeah, this is a motion on the amendment.
Yeah.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Rabina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Aye, yes.
Councilman Patel? That's acceptable. Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, the amendment is agreed to.
Okay. And is there, do you have a motion to adopt as amended?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Okay. Andrew, call the roll when you're ready.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Rabina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted as amended.
Ron, you want to come up? Yeah. Okay. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 223-24?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? So I will set the table here. We have the professionals here. So we started this process a while back, and just a refresher on test to see if I still remember this process. So in redevelopment, there is an area in need of redevelopment. We do a study on that to see if it qualifies for an area in need of redevelopment. After the study, the planners recommend a plan, right? Plan gets sent to us, referred to the land use board for commentary. Then we adopt, change plan as we see fit. And then if there's any development to be had there, then there's a redevelopment agreement after that, right? Did I get the process right?
That's correct.
So
yeah.
we're at the beginning of step 2 on this, right? So this study was initiated because there was interest in potentially putting a hotel there, which would kind of service the catering / restaurant business that's there. And also there's interest in putting offices there, is my understanding. But, feel free to ask questions. Fran, Ron, anything to add to that?
No, I think, this is, we were asked to draft a plan with really no project in mind.
Yep.
So we tried to, look what existing zoning is and try to add some different uses and try to really spice up, I would say, you want to call Block 606, whichever, that's part of redevelopment.
Yeah.
So you might see some, different uses in there that, I've had from other plans, which I thought were interesting, I brought to the table. It's not written in stone, it's your plan. If you think, well, this is not appropriate, we can remove it. If you have uses that you think that may be appropriate.
Or maybe not appropriate?
Yeah, maybe
Yep.
not appropriate. Just make recommendations. But, this is our first draft, and, again, not written in stone. It's a collaborative effort.
Well, I'm frankly up to here with residential. We've got enough coming online. Personally, my constituents feel the same way regarding residential. I did look over these initial plans. I would like to see commercial and retail space at that location. It's prime location for it there on Westfield Ave. You've got the catering hall to the left. You have within 500 feet of that property, you've got apartments already online, apartments coming up at the Meridia across from Sunrise Diner. So I really wouldn't want to see any more residential, and like to see this limited to commercial and retail use only, and probably capped at 3 stories. Do we feel the same way on the board, or?
I agree with you, Steve.
I have a question. Is there any way, because I know you mentioned hotel, and that's a huge concern for me. I think a hotel there at that point is, I would say no to. But, I mean, if it's commercial use only, I personally would agree with that, and definitely no residential. So is there any way of wording that, or how we get specifics? Because I know you mentioned the restaurant, and he would like to, is he the owner? Is that correct?
Yes, Kevin George is the owner of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I think the interest for the hotels are, again, I don't know how much I should be saying on the record, but I think it would come out in the wash anyway. He specifically wants, he owns a parcel there and would like to, well, he already knocked down the one building, the ghost house that was there.
Yeah.
The haunted house. Yeah, it's nice to see that gone. He would like to put either there or do a property swap because he doesn't own the property right next to it.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, right, these are very high-level concepts. He does like weddings and stuff, so he would want to have like, call it 15 to 20 hotel units just for families that come in from wherever. So that's the context that I know.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would say no to that personally, but, yeah, I don't know how they would try to word that, but obviously.
Is there a
it's all-
stipulation that we can have only towards catering space only, or towards the use of the facility? To ensure that it's not residential, used as a hotel space for other, like a frat party comes in from another town, or any use that isn't.
We could add wording to that effect. I mean, it almost, I'm not going to say become a conditional use, but it would just be this certain type of hotel. If we have ideas, we can certainly research it. Again, this is really open, it's an open discussion. I concur with you. I like to have commercial along the street level, at the very least. I know mixed uses are good too. I'm not going to try to change your view on residential, but sometimes you have synergy if you got some residential above the commercial.
But we've got it 100 feet to the left, 100 feet to the right.
I know, but
Measured out.
in respect to a lot of what we have, it's old.
No.
The buildings might be a lot different, and, I'd say that having, seen some prototypes, I would say going on, I mean, this is not Seaside Heights, but last year when I was on vacation, I was taking notes, because they have a lot of new things, and just, to see how the different uses can interact.
Do things like what? Could you provide examples, or?
Well,
Can I
no,
just-
I mean,
Jay, just real quick, I do want to ask, as just a matter of like process here. So I'll defer to Fran and maybe Joe. So can council recommend, or can council put in stipulations and like if the cap it at 3 stories, right? Can council do that at this stage, or do they have to let it go to land use board and then make the recommendations when it
This
comes?
stage, and then it goes to land use.
Correct. Those comments could be reflected on the record. They could be incorporated in the plan, and then that plan, you can make the recommendation that the plan as amended on the record is going to be
Okay.
what's going to be referred to the land use board.
And then the land use board can make additional recommendations or strike certain recommendations, and we can, then as the governing body, choose
We
to.
ultimately vote on it.
Correct.
It's their recommendations, yeah.
But Jay, can I get this straight? So you wanted to add that into this plan? Is that what you were trying to do?
What I'm trying to do is eliminate residential use
Okay.
altogether, and keep it at 3 stories, commercial and retail, and that's it.
Yeah, can they put that where the prohibited uses?
Go for it, yeah.
I think it would be helpful, excuse me for the governing body, but Ron, could you just point out kind of where the bulk standards are in? So I believe on the agenda that you guys are looking at, it would be, and the public's looking at, it's page 29 of 46. That's where you begin the permitted uses and prohibited uses, and then followed from there. It's not going to it may not make sense for you, Ron, I'm not sure what you have.
No, I've got it right here.
But it's page 10 of the plan, but it's page 29 of the packet. Permitted uses and prohibited uses, and that follows up with a bulk standard table. To make things concrete for the discussion, I think it's helpful to just look at, what actually is in there.
Right now.
Okay, because right now our mixed-use definition partly incorporates, it's It could incorporate residential,
And it's gotta go.
office, retail, public, or recreation. If you remove the wording residential, then residential's gone. Because it's, the mixed use is, if you look at before, under section B, under defined terms, everything there is unique to the plan, otherwise it defaults to the ordinance. So we're not trying to have different definitions, it was just trying to have this specific to 606. So it's really a removal of one word. Now, obviously, going to the bulk standards, the number one item up there, maximum dwelling units per acre, if you don't have residences, it's not needed anymore, so it's gone. But otherwise, these type of items would stay. If you're going to cap it at 3, one of the things we were trying to do here is have more of a street edge up front where you don't really have a setback, that you have the storefronts right up front, but in the rear, to protect the residential areas, and this was more in the concept of more of a residential, to step it back. The first floor could be 15 feet, because if it's multi-family or multi-dwelling unit, who's really going to use the backyard? But we thought it important that on the second level and the third level, you step it back so you have air, light, and open space between the residences, so you don't have that overwhelming bulk. But the point's moot if we limit it to three stories. I mean, you'd have a step back of just floors floors 2 and 3 at that point.
Okay.
It would change the bulk standards a bit. It's not a heavy lift to do.
Okay.
Can you just see, under C, it's number 3, so that would have to be eliminated, I
And
guess?
number 7,
And number 7, maybe change the definition of that
or eliminate that
specifically.
as well.
Yeah.
Or if I could make it, so Ron, what they're saying is, so number 3 is mixed-use development, and number 7 is mixed-use building. If the desire of the governing body, and again, I'm not trying to push anyone in any direction, but if the desire is to eliminate residential, would it be beneficial to list residential under the prohibited uses section so that it's encompassing of everything?
We could, but I would say just go to the definition. We would eliminate the definition of mixed-use building because it's not needed anymore.
Okay.
And then you'd eliminate the mixed-use building because they tie together, because it's specific to the plan. And then you would just take the mixed-use development, and I would suggest that you just eliminate the wording residential. And you can modify the other uses.
From the definition.
From the
is what you're saying.
definition. And if you wanted to make it clear that residential's not there, we could just say it's prohibited. But it's not a big deal. I think it's redundant, but I could put it there as prohibited use.
I don't mind the redundancy on that.
Okay.
But how does the rest of the governing body feel?
Before we proceed, I just would like to reiterate that the purpose of a redevelopment plan, the purpose of designating a redevelopment area is to encourage and facilitate development. And the more limitations that go within the development on those sites, it limits the amount of interest and the potential for development. As Ron mentioned, residential often facilitates the commercial development and supports commercial and retail. Residential can be managed, there's other steps to manage residential before completely eliminating it. You can limit height, you can limit, right now it's the density per acre is 96, you can address the density per acre, you can address the height, and you're not totally eliminating the option for residential within the entire redevelopment area. So I just wanted to make clear that that would also be the next, another step besides entirely eliminating residential.
I mean, I'm giving you the logistics on how to do it. It's fairly simple.
Yes.
But whether or not it's advisable, it's another story, and it's open to debate. I would say in the year 2024, what we're seeing is retail and commercial are changing tremendously. I would say a lot is the Amazon effect. What we've had in post-COVID, people aren't shopping the way they used to, and they order in more. So, that's just another thought that, it may behoove us to keep some of that residential in, because it will support the businesses below.
Well, we currently have 240 East Westfield that have opened, and the building's been open for 2-3 years now, and we have 5,000 square feet that's still not occupied.
Of
And
the
current-
commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we have
that's-
plenty.
that actually
We
may
have
be
plenty in
proven-
Roselle
yeah.
Park. Just take a ride.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, that's maybe proving my point, how challenging, even in the newer buildings, to lease
No,
out.
but we gave the opportunity to have a mixed-use development to support, like Fran said, to support this, a project like that, and nothing's materialized, nothing's
Yeah.
been realized. So why would we make the same mistake again? Why would we bring
You
in
just wanna
additional
go-
residential?
It's just the one thing, you know, I
We're
just.
limited, but
Mhm.
times are changing. There's properties very valuable nowadays, and hopefully there's additional interest, and let's see let's deal with what we have on the table first before bringing more residential in, unless developers want to build an annex to our schools or help support the town in other ways. I just see it difficult, so I don't know if we want to vote this down completely or just,
I think we should just vote to amend this plan. We have enough votes up here to say no, and we thank you for your recommendation, and we move forward. That's it.
Yeah.
Let's put this to rest.
I just want to also, to clarify for procedure, you're not really at a point where you're voting yes or no on the plan. The plan, this is a workshop discussion, so we're not even at the point where the plan is locked in. The plan is for discussion purposes, can incorporate your comments from tonight, and then send it to the land use board.
I understand this whole process wholeheartedly. I'm ready to vote, and it's no. Oh, and I'm ready to amend it like I just finished saying. So, Jay, you brought up a great point. I support everything that you said with this project. I support everything else minus the residential. I will not even play with it. I don't even want to play with it. Let's put it in the plan and see what happens and move forward. Thank you. And I digress. I'm not going to go back and forth after this. Thank you.
If I could just because I have to keep the record, so if we could just kind of go over the permitted and prohibited uses quickly, and then we can maybe proceed to the bulk table, because I think there was some discussion about the height also. I want to make sure we have
Yeah,
that
so-
reflected correctly.
Sure.
It says 4 and 5.
So if we could just, Ron, if you could just read out what page numbers you're on of the packet.
I'm on, for permitted principal uses and structures.
Page number of the packet,
Page number 29.
okay? But you talked about changing a definition first?
Oh, yes. Well, what we would do is going to page 28,
Yep.
under the specific definitions we have here, we would eliminate mixed-use building. And mixed-use development would be amended to eliminate the word residential.
So it'll read in part, reading from the middle, but not limited to, eliminating residential, but not limited to office, retail, public, et cetera.
Correct.
And then we move on to the page 29.
Okay, page 29, so we would have.
We'd strike number 3 off of C,
Yep.
mixed-use
So-
development. Number 7, mixed-use building.
So mixed use-
No, we would keep mixed-use development because that's a variety of uses
Just-
that we don't, because you know,
Eliminating
you'd
residential.
eliminate the residential.
Okay.
So it would be bank and financial services, a craft distillery. It just it can't be within 200 feet of a residential zone adjacent to the redevelopment area. Mixed-use development, office, retail sales, retail services, any combination of the uses above.
Yep, so number 7 would be struck. and
Number
then-
7 would
and
be
then number
struck,
8,
yes.
any combination of the listed would be renumbered as 7.
Yes.
And then under prohibited, I think the permitted uses and accessory structures is fine, based on what I heard. Prohibited uses, I think we want to add number 3, residential.
Yes.
And no hotel?
Is there agreement about hotel? I've only heard one comment about that. You could vote on another amendment, I'm just, I don't know if there's broad agreement
Well,
on that.
Am I correct? I mean, I'm looking here, there's no hotel mentioned. Where is it?
Joe
Retail-
P.
Okay, retail services,
No.
okay, gotcha.
No? Okay,
So if you
no.
wanna-
Please, no hotel.
If you want to be able to do something and get a specific definition of the type of hotel that you wish, we can do it. The way it is written now is a little broad. I understand what you're saying, and so I hear the concern. So I'd have to dig into our definitions, our Bible, Moskowitz, to see if we can get something tighter. So that would be, I mean, what I'm hearing is that there's concern about the hotel and motels mentioned. and that we would have to get a different definition to be a little tighter to describe it. It's a small scale.
I'm all right with the amended version. Just come up with a better definition. Consider it.
To be clear, is the consensus to limit the hotel facilities to support the catering facility
That's how I
only?
feel.
Was that what was the consensus or what was discussed?
We don't have consensus.
Yeah, I have to just logistically speaking, and again, governing body can choose to do whatever they would like. For the hotel in particular, because I think there's some nuance other than just eliminating things or changing words. I think you guys are looking for, some of you just don't want it, right, and I hear you. But I think some other of you may just want it like really tight language around what it is, and I don't know if you're gonna get that speaking here, even if I'm not rushing the conversation, but I don't know that you're gonna get it effectively talking about it right now.
So I think just real quick, Greg, it's probably easier just in or out, right? So Joe's chirping in a little bit here. I'd say that in a nice way. You get into a little bit of a danger zone when you start like getting very specific about some of these zonings, right?
So I always tell people, right, if you put the word restaurant, you get the full gamut, right? You get the high-end white tablecloth and you get the no tablecloth. So it's really hard for a planner to fully describe what you think a hotel will be. It's easier if it's allowed or size or short-term, or, right, there's some broader definitions, but it's very hard to narrow it to just a single use for the single person next door. That's just very hard.
No, and there's uses too that aren't even here that I've even dealt with. I've been researching elsewhere about, not for this plan, but like event space. It's a big growing space. It doesn't really fit into the banquet hall space. It's almost like a pop-up space. And I can't find any definitions of it, but I'll tell you what, I'll do my darndest here to, to try to get something that would be more pleasing to address the concerns. And again, when you make it tight, again, like restaurants, I think we know what a restaurant is. And
But what my point is, the style restaurant runs a gamut in some respects.
correct.
So if they have an image of a hotel being a higher-end boutique hotel, might not necessarily be the high-end restaurant.
And restaurants have private parties too. I mean, but does that make it a banquet hall? So it's like you start getting into you're going down a slippery slope when you start putting things in.
Here's another thing on the hotel, just the last thing I'll say on this, and then I think you guys should just move on, yes or no, would be my suggestion. You guys also, if you allow hotels, theoretically, there's a third piece to this whole redevelopment process, right? So let's just say somebody comes up and says, we want to build a hotel, right? Then they have to, with Fran and with Ron, come up with a redevelopment agreement. And then it gets very specific and granular as to how many rooms are in that hotel, what the operating hours are, right? So you could theoretically allow something now and then be more specific about it later in the agreement, but that's just food for thought.
Good point, Mayor.
No.
I don't have a view either way.
I think, again, the redevelopment plan, we're trying to put things on the table that will be attract investment in the borough, attract development. But we want good development.
Correct.
Can I ask a real quick random question? The craft distillery thing, did the state loosen up the ability to make those? Like, could we get new licenses for those? Or that would have to be somebody with an existing license in Roselle Park? Do you guys know?
Craft distilleries are issued by the state of New Jersey. They're not municipal licenses.
Yeah, but, okay, so theoretically though, even though we're at our max license.
The laws are not related to each
They're
other.
more under historic component where like they allow them if they do tours and stuff like that.
Yeah, so even if we're at our max of 15, the state could say, yeah, Joe's Brewing wants to move in there.
Yeah, they're not,
Okay.
the existing ABC licenses are, they're different types of licenses.
Okay, cool.
They're not issued through the
They
municipality.
can't serve anything that they don't make on property.
Okay, got it.
And these are deeper lots too, which was my thought about
Yeah,
having
we have-
distance. You don't want it to go through the whole building and then, someone's got a patio in the back and right next to residences and.
Yep.
How do my colleagues feel about it being amended before I make any motion? Do we feel amended with no residential? And I'll also look towards the public as well. No completely?
Wait, you can't engage with.
Yeah, sorry, we're not talking to the public here. With
Okay,
due respect, this is a back and forth between.
Understood.
I think we vote on both of those separate if they're gonna be in the plan, because we don't have the same numbers of yeses and nos.
So you could certainly
We
do,
could also
Yeah.
revisit it in the agreement if we, after municipal land use board brings it back, we can further fine tune it and vote it down a second bite.
Correct.
So if it doesn't win, doesn't mean, right now, doesn't mean that we don't have a second bite to tear that apart. The only
After
thing
it's
with the
reviewed by land
residential,
use
I don't want to play with that at all.
Yeah.
The whole town is tired of residential.
Correct.
I think we made that clear.
Yeah.
This right here,
I want to see commercial.
yeah.
I want to see
I
retail.
think we should allow them the opportunity to draft something and then send it to the municipal land use so they can make a recommendation and then we can vote it down there. But we can vote it now and however many yeses and nos say, put it in here right now, take it out. I'm all right with that too.
I would, if I may or if I could, I'm just talking about process here, so I could be told, just be quiet. But if you, it seems like there's broad consensus, at least from what I can hear, around the elimination of residential.
Correct.
So what my suggestion, you can amend this 100 times over the next hour if you want to. So what I would suggest is somebody make a motion, second, potentially, discuss it, vote on that amendment, and then see if you want to amend the proposed plan any further.
Take it one step at a time.
I think we haven't reviewed the bulk standards yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, before we get there, let's
Okay.
establish a mile marker.
Okay. Well, then I'll make a motion to limit the size of this project, scope, 3 stories, commercial and retail only, removing, with the recommendations that have been made by my colleagues here on council, removing the residential component, as we discussed, eliminating the language of mixed-use development limited to residential, that'll be struck. On page 29, removing number 7, that'll be eliminated. And as the Borough Administrator said, adding under prohibited uses, number 3, residential.
We'd also have to amend the bulk charts too, if we can get to page 30 to tie it.
Right, so he mentioned limiting it to 3 stories.
Okay, but we also have to eliminate maximum dwelling units per acre because it's no
Let's, we'll do it under a second amendment.
Okay.
We'll do it other,
Baby steps.
let's just, let's get through this one. So that's a
I second that, Jack.
motion. It's a second.
Okay. Thank you, Greg.
Do the professionals understand? Mostly Ron.
Yes.
Please call the please call the roll.
So this is on a motion to amend based on what was outlined. Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Aye.
Councilman Rabina?
Yes.
Councilman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The amendment is agreed to. So again, procedurally speaking, if you'd like to amend it again with additional amendments, it's your prerogative.
Let's do it. Okay, let's talk about page 30 then. Let's look at the bulk standards. And now the next go-around will be maximum dwelling units. We'll be removing that completely, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
It's not applicable.
not applicable. Okay, also limiting the stories.
Can I just ask a quick question, and maybe Ron would know this, just for a point of reference? What's a 4-story building that we would know in Roselle Park? So like, the one, it used to be a bank, you know what I'm talking about, with the spire at the end of Chestnut Street? It's like a wedding planning place?
Yes.
What is that? Do you know if that's 3 or 4 stories off the top of the?
I think that would be defined as 3 stories.
That's 3 stories. Okay, just trying to get a frame of
Nothing bigger than
reference. Yeah, okay.
So if we're limiting it to 3 stories, then the minimum rear yard at the very least would have to be amended to take out references to 4 and 5.
Yep.
Correct.
Can I let me ask you a question about, and everybody, so I agree with the 3-story, but I just have a quick question on if somebody wants to develop 3 stories and put parking underneath, is that considered a 4-story
It is. Yeah. so
As
you-
of right now, yes, because we don't have a specific definition for story here, so we default to the ordinance. That's not saying we can't create a story definition, which we did for the Meridia project.
So I'm 100%, and, look, they got to come back with some kind of plans and see, right? Artist rendering or something like that. I want to stick with my guns with the three-story, but look, parking, in my opinion, is we don't have enough and we could use more. And I wouldn't want to eliminate if they said, well, I'd like to have the 3 stories of commercial, but I want to throw 14 parking spots underneath. And they follow the whole process. We have a kind of a procedure. We don't want to have EV charging in and indoor, and I don't want to take all night here, indoor parking, but it works. And it's something just throw that out the window if that came in as a concept. If they say 3 stories and a parking deck, a parking lot, a ground level parking.
Ground level parking, and then...
I mean, I can't think of it, there's numerous little office buildings around that have half parking, the stairway starts on the ground floor, but then they have 4 or 5 spots. I just want to throw it out there. Are we hurting ourselves? Anybody follow what I'm saying? Eliminating,
So I think you might want to...
even 5 spots, something like that, a cantilever or whatever, something like that. But I just have to throw it out there to say that would be my exception. And the mayor asked about the height and what's the downtown, and I need to duly note that if anybody is on the same page with me, feel comfortable.
No, I'm in the
Define-
same.
Yeah, I'm
define the
definitely on
parking,
your,
you know.
but parking is a problem.
We could easily put that in the plan or the agreement, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the focus should be more on the height of the building if you want to limit it.
Okay,
Because when you start counting stories, you're regulating twice.
right.
And I think I've seen, this is where I was going with some of the things I saw last year, where the parking was incorporated very well into the facade. I mean, you're walking along and there was some businesses in there, but you wouldn't notice some parking like right behind
Yeah,
it.
I don't want to tie their hands. I
And-
would encourage it if they could produce more parking by cantilevering or partial, first floor. It could be, half the ground floor is some kind of offices or a vestibule or foyer, and then
The other half is parking.
and the other 3 stories technically would be 4, but
Behind it.
Yeah, it's a dual regulation. A lot of story regulations, a lot of it has to do with the intensity of the use. For instance, this is whole issue with basements and cellars.
Right.
If it's half below grade, it's not considered a story, mainly is because human habitation's not below. So that's why, you can, it's not considered a story for zoning purposes. But if it's above, it is, because now you're using it, you're intensifying the use. So that's why you limit it. So,
that's the way I stand.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. If they, look, the engineer it, it's sprinklered with dry system, blah, blah, blah. If we can gain some parking, I know it's deep lots, but it's a tough street there.
could be almost like a story bonus if they provide certain amount of parking would not be, would not be considered a story.
So I have a suggestion, just based on what I'm hearing. Would it be feasible to make the maximum height 3 stories, with the exception of the 3 stories being underground parking?
Are we talking underground parking, or are we talking I think they.
Are you talking surface level?
Flat level.
Oh, you're talking surface level parking?
Yeah.
Surface level parking,
Okay, so that's my apologies. I thought
which
you were
is
talking about
basically the
underground
building's going to be partly on stilts over the parking.
Like
Yeah.
the building across the
Not
street.
open surface, we're not talking that.
Like the building across the street,
Mhm.
next to what was.
And that's what that
Charming
is. That's
Pickles.
3 stories with the parking underneath.
Mhm. And that's used a lot, it's used a lot in Elizabeth. Garwood has some of the redevelopment
Yes.
projects that use that, right near the
Yeah.
Borough
Yeah,
Hall. I
yeah,
did the master plan re-exam, and they had just opened up those projects. So, again, they incorporated that as part of the design.
Well, so I guess I reworded, 4 stories, but it has to be a percentage of parking underneath with a walkway, elevator on the ground floor, whatever.
I think what you're talking about is four stories where the first floor is parking.
Correct.
It has to be X amount of parking?
The first floor could be parking.
Yeah, a percentage
Right.
of parking, yeah.
A percentage of parking, you say, again, if we can get some good commercial down there and then the parking, it's parking
Right.
surrounds it.
I mean, if you get a Target there, you're going to need parking, right?
That's it.
Stranger things have happened. I don't know. They're doing small Targets now. I'm being serious. It's a thing. They're small box Targets now. It's a thing. See, Fran gets me.
Am I allowed to talk yet, Andrew?
Joe, you may.
Andrew said I wasn't allowed to talk.
And what
So
height
you might
do
be
you,
able to, you might be able to just give them a height bonus density, so it's.
I like that
it's-
idea.
It's a 3-story building if, so follow me on this one. It's a 3-story building, they get to the 4th story if more than 50% of the first floor is dedicated to parking, or 60%, whatever number you want.
51%, have we go.
Whatever,
You can make it whatever.
whatever you want, but if 50% or more of the square
Yeah.
footage of the first floor is dedicated to parking, then they get a bonus density, right? They would still need to meet the separate parking requirements.
Yes,
The other way height is controlled because they still need to get the number of parking spaces for what they're gonna build.
and then if we do it that way, we're going to have to keep that, I would recommend keeping that step back for the 4th floor in case you get into that type of situation in the rear.
I believe we definitely need 1 floor of parking. But, I mean, I like 60%, but I think 1
I just
floor-
throw that out as an option.
Because look at all the other projects we have, we run into problem with parking. The first one we built, we ran into a lot of issues, and we had to do a lot of finagling and everything like that, so
Yeah.
I would like to make sure we at least have 1 floor of parking.
And this is universal, the planners love to talk about mixed use and transit-oriented development, but the reality is people are still wedded to their cars. I believe in planning for what reality is
Park we have.
and making sure that it works for the borough.
That makes sense.
As to height, if we got minimum and maximum 40 and 50, of course, that was based on the 4 to 5 stories. Should we just drop that to 30 and 40?
I concur.
I, not a member of the governing body, I'm just saying that makes sense, but I think that you need to add an asterisk for the maximum height in feet, and I think you need to add it for the maximum is 3, and add in language to caveat that.
Correct.
with A density bonus or a height bonus.
And
for a
that
percentage
ties
of
into
parking.
allowing, yeah.
Yeah.
I concur.
Sounds fair.
Are there any other items on the bulk table?
One other, there's a footnote in here about 4-story buildings. Again, I'll work with it. I don't think I know what I need to do here. I just got to modify the second sentence, which talked about anything exceeding 4 stories. So that's obviously not exceeding at this point, so. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think a good point was made here. I'll wait. That there are other references to residential, like on page 31 about off-street parking standards. I think if we have a general blanket recommendation that any references to residential will be stricken, that's how we would modify it. I mean, we can go over each item, but I may miss something. I think I'll just word search everything to make sure I can remove everything that has to do with residential.
Agreed, we can do that. I agree with that. Anybody else?
The only thing in regards, do I make a motion, or how do I address the hotel
still adding it.
thing? Is that an amendment? Or do we?
We're still in the process of amending.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the hotel, unlike some of these other things, I think that you don't have everybody on the same page about the hotel, right? Like, I'm just calling it for what it is. So it seems like there's a lot of consensus around these things. Again, I would lock in the things that are definite. You can make a motion whenever you want, right? You're a member of the governing body. So if you want no hotels, you can make a motion no hotels, right? It's
Okay, I'll
up to
make a
you.
motion, no hotel.
I'll second it.
Where are we putting that? Prohibited uses?
Prohibited use, yeah.
So are we going to
That
do
would
a
be
roll?
on
Yeah, yeah,
page 29, it would be number 4. Number 3 was no residential. Number 3 was no residential. Number 4 would then, if amended, would be no hotel.
And additionally, the definition for retail services would be modified to eliminate hotels and motels.
And anywhere else throughout the plan that those references are.
Good, Councilwoman? Good?
Yes.
Yep.
So we have a second, call the roll?
Motion and second. Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
No.
Councilman Signorello?
No.
Councilman Rabina?
Oh, don't make me break a tie.
You haven't did that in a while?
I haven't had to do it in a while.
I said it. I said no.
They said-
Oh, you said no. Oh, Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
3-3. Mayor Signorello?
Ro, I'm sorry. I'm going to vote no on it just because I want to give it a shot to see what it looks like, but I understand where you're coming from and we can keep an eye on it.
Don't say
All
sorry.
In the
right?
negative?
No, it's
Or
it's just-
3 in the affirmative, 4 in the
I
negative?
feel bad. I got to
The
split the
amendment
is-
baby
I'll feel
here.
Not agreed to. So just to recap kind of where we were, just so, again, procedurally speaking, we were going over the bulk table. Some of the things that were discussed was eliminating dwelling units, and I think that kind of goes with strike any reference to residential or dwelling units throughout the rest of the redevelopment plan as proposed. Minimum rear yard in feet, we would eliminate reference to floor 5, as there would never be a situation with a floor 5. It would be floor 4, and that would be as 35 with an asterisk referring to the parking bonus to be determined. Height in feet would be reduced from minimum of 30, maximum of 40, again, 40 asterisk. Height in stories, we already addressed that. It would be minimum of 1 and maximum of, I think, 4 with an asterisk. Again, that 4th referencing back to the parking. So in terms of what was discussed, from what I heard, one of the things the governing body needs to maybe deliberate a little more on is, what does that parking bonus look like, right? Is it 50%? Is it 60%? Is it 90%? Is it 10%? Like, what is the number you're looking for?
I'd like to clarify. So they would use the ground floor for, you're going to have to put an elevator, trash room, utility room, the meters, maybe HVAC. So I don't know how today we can go with the 60 to or 51%, but my idea would be try to utilize the ground floor for more parking and your utilities, whatever. When I go to bed tonight, I'll remember this building. Oh, it only has 25% of it is building, but to use the elevator room, the elevator, trash room, the meters, the gas meters, electric meters, HVAC is taken up. About 100 by 100 foot building, they're using maybe a 25 by 25 area. And I guess you could say that's 25% for utilities instead of putting on the first or second floor. They utilize the ground floor for utilities, garbage, recyclables, and stuff like that. That would be my suggestion, the ground floor, whatever. There's like 2 buildings on Commerce in the Cranford. I know, I've been to whatever. Just a small part in the middle is this, it's all parking around it. And in the middle is elevator and trash room, utility room, HVAC, sprinkler room, and all that stuff is on the ground floor. Maximizes their space for retail, and they get a lot of parking.
I'm not an expert at construction, but I think that would make sense design-wise. You have a concrete core where your
Right.
elevators are, right in the middle.
Could we just send that to the municipal land use board and wait for?
100%. 100%.
Because I think that this is not enough time to really get into the weeds
100%.
of that right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm certain there's state standards and other, depending on what the property is going to be, if it's an office space, if it's a bank, I'm certain there's guidelines and standards. Are there with that, right? And I think it's better suited to send it to the municipal land use, and we could vote on that and agree.
The other thing I'll add with like the height requirement, I've been trying to be hands off with this one, is, look, you guys chose to get rid of residential, right, and mixed use. I would say the only reason that a developer would go up is because they want to do units, apartment units over commercial. My guess is, by virtue of the fact that you guys just axed residential from it, you're probably not going to see a use bigger than 3 or 4 stories. Is that a fair guess, Ron?
I think it'll be self-regulating. I can't see having non-residential uses on the 4th floor. If I'm an insurance company, I don't know if my clients would be.
Yeah, we hope to get.
Not going up the stairs to go to
Well,
Well,
we need the exercise.
The only way it would work out really is if you have a big office complex that moved there, and as much as I'm bullish of that, of us getting office space, like, I don't see that in the future, right? But to Greg's point, like, you can do 2 things. You could just leave it alone and punt it to the land use board, and then also, if somebody says, Target comes in and wants to do a Target local, right? And they want to come in, I love the idea, it'd be great.
And so are you manifesting?
I think it'd be cool, but, or Trader Joe's, everybody's favorite.
Everybody's
5 stories Trader Joe's.
4 stories.
Council gets 2 bites, 2 chances to change this, right? When it comes back from the land use board with suggestions, if you guys did your homework and said, hey, you know what? We're going to do 4 with a kicker. Or when somebody actually comes with a redevelopment agreement, you say, no, that's 4 stories, we want 3, right? So there's 2 ways to do that. So if you want to leave it,
No, that was
I
the
get
point that I
that.
was trying. That was the point I was trying to make. It's a lot to
Yeah.
think of right now.
And just one other thing, if we're kicking cans down the road, I would like to, the hotel thing I would like to revisit, but so Ron, I think the homework for you is there a definition of a hotel or an expanded definition of like a catering hall, right? That would fit, basically the use it's a use of a hotel that would support the catering hall with restrictions, I think is something that people would feel more comfortable with. I think if you can do some research on if there's a use that, in that vein, that would be good. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. What does council want to do with the height here? I'm hearing nothing?
3.
Yeah, the height. I thought we were making it 3, right? Or is it?
Up to you, John. You're councilman. If you want to vote to cap it at 3 or 4, or make a motion.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to cap at 3.
I'll second.
We're at 3. We're at 3.
3 stories.
We're at 3. We're at 3 stories.
Oh, we did that already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then it was that bonus of the 4th. But
Okay, got it.
I thought we went through that.
Got it. Okay, so got it. So we're good. We can always change it.
Okay, and then what about parking? Is that included?
So there's parking standards, Joe.
Okay.
So they'd still have to be beholden to the parking standards.
How much parking is going to be?
It depends on what the use is, right? So it's calculated based on how many square feet the building is.
Once we have a concept, a design, a plan that we can then go off of, then it goes to municipal land use board and it will be discussed there.
Then it comes back.
Members
Yeah,
of
then it
the
comes back.
public can-
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll be able to see, so if there's a project that happens there, you'll be able to know, okay, it's a Trader Joe's, it's 2,000 square feet, and there's going to be 100 parking spots. And then you could say, yeah, that's enough, or no, that's not enough. Right, Fran?
I just want to clarify for the record about the hotel motel definition for now. That hotel definition, what's going to the land use board is just hotel motel as is. It's not going to be amended because that's not what's on the record.
Correct.
If something comes back from land use board, that can, or you can revisit it at that time.
Correct. We could
Okay.
revisit it then.
And
Yep.
I'm sorry, what
Yep.
was the last question?
Parking.
Parking.
The last question was parking. So the ratio Joe just pointed out, it's 1 space per 250 square foot of gross floor area right now. Which, again, like, I think that'll be, is that standard, Ron? I don't know.
That's pretty much, that's standard.
What's our standard ordinance? I don't even know.
I think it's 1 per 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing here, that I'm deleting that studio thing here, number 3, that doesn't even apply.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a typo. I know where that came from.
Yep.
I had a studio use that I deleted out of here, and I forgot to delete it out of the table.
Okey-dokey.
Like a boutique movie studio.
Government in action. So we're good for now. If we want to make any other changes, it'll come up again, Joe.
Okay, as long as we get.
And just one clarification, if you look under the additional requirements and standards, there's a concept that we have, that floated in about parking off-site, that you can go 1,000 feet if you don't meet the requirements. It's just trying to give more flexibility to say, I can't provide it on site, but I have an agreement with
Whatever.
someone 1,000 feet away.
Yep.
It's a concept other municipalities have, and it allows more flexibility.
So is there going to be another amendment proposed, or is there not another amendment proposed?
I don't have one.
I think they're at a minimum, you need to eliminate references to residential throughout the plan.
Correct.
Do we need another motion for that?
And studio.
Put those on the first.
And then
The reference to
Yeah, I think so.
eliminating references to the fifth floor throughout. Then studio, eliminating in table 2 on page 31, page 12 of the plan, just fixing the typographical error there, clerical error.
And also, just in Table 2, residential parking would be removed. And then on page 34 of the packet, the affordable housing obligation will be revised to reflect that there is no residential provided.
Are there any other considerations for this amendment? Mayor, it's your meeting.
Somebody want to make a motion to make that final amendment so we can clean it up?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the roll?
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Rabina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor, the amendment is agreed to.
All right, boys and girls,
We
can
need-
we, yeah, I
I'm
got it.
sorry.
Can we put this one to bed so I can go to bed? Anything else? So I need a motion to adopt as amended, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Adopt resolution, is this 223?
Yeah.
So moved.
Oh, hold up, let me just ask for, well, whatever, so moved.
Second.
Call the roll when you're ready.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Rabina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor, the resolution is adopted as amended.
Brutal. It's good to have a discussion.
Government in action. Okay,
Right?
yeah, sorry, guys, thank you very much for being here.
All
Yeah,
right,
yep.
take care.
Okay, reports of committees, we'll start with the council president.
Okay, very short. First of all, I want to send my condolences out to June Stark's family. I've known June Stark for about 45 years. When I first got involved coaching Little League in the mid-'70s, she was involved in the league. And her mother and father was involved, the whole family. Great lady and everything like that, so she definitely will be missed. Patrick Cook with the American Legion. I had the honor of playing softball with him for many years. I believe he was the commander over in Linden. Yeah. But I think his brother was the commander at 060. Okay. And also Mike Henney. I was involved in Little League with Mike. He coached many years in both baseball and basketball, and was a real dedicated coach. So he definitely will be missed. I would like everyone to keep Paul DeVito and his family in your prayers. He has enough fight, and I'm hoping that everything works out for him and his family. He did actually came home last Thursday, and so I'm hoping the best for them. I'm going to hold off post 60. I'm going to let my thing, but they need our help. A lot of these veterans served in the war. My partner over here, and they could use your help now. So if there's anything you can help, do. Go down there, spend a couple of dollars. I know they're having a fundraiser, which I'm going to hold off to Councilman Johnson to say, on September 21st, and it's, they're looking to raise money. Remember, the school has opened. Keep the kids in mind, watch both ways, and everything like that. If you need to get a hold of me, you can get me at jpetrosky@rosellepark.net, 908-666-7821, and that's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. First word, Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents. I would like to start off with a couple of community announcements. At the request of Commander Verdun, on behalf of Post 6, the American Legion Veteran Group, would like to invite the community to their first Oktoberfest celebration that will be held on Saturday, September 21st, 2024, from 2 to 10 p.m. All proceeds will help the local veterans and Boy Scouts organization, Troop 56. For more information, please contact Kat McCoy, 908-436-8463. Again, what the council president was asking you guys, please, the community, come out. We're seeing better progress, but we still need your support. We're in financial needs, and we're making it, but we need a little bit more support. So please come out and support your veterans and Troop 56 Boy Scouts. I believe the Oktoberfest is in name of Patrick, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, I would be remiss if I exclude his name, so. The next community engagement will be held by the Greg Johnson Civic Association in partnership with New Jersey Clean Communities and Adopt a Highway Program, cleaning up Westfield Ave, also known as Route 28, on Saturday, September 28th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The meeting point will be held here at Borough Hall. For more information, you could contact me at gjcivicassociation@gmail.com. So that would be GJCIVICASSOCIATION@gmail.com. Once again, my condolences goes out to the Starks family, and thank you for allowing me to pay my respects at her wake. Her presence will surely be missed throughout our beloved community. If you need to get in contact with me, please feel free to email me at gjohnson@rosellepark.net, or you could call me at 908-303-1519. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Rosanna, can you go next, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Want to just wish all the students in Roselle Park a great new year. We started officially today, and can't believe it's September. But I also want to remind everyone, the community center, the Roselle Park Library, the rec center, they have such a great team. Please visit rosellepark.net. We have so many things happening this upcoming fall, and we want the town to really participate. We do have just the announcements that Rupen had already mentioned. We have the Hispana Fiesta tomorrow, 6 p.m., across the street from the post office at Maury Park. Please come to that. We have the Arts Festival on September 28th, and we also do, the Indian Festival is actually October 5th, and I'm also going into October 19th. It's the Italian Heritage Festival, and we definitely want you to come. We have food trucks coming, bouncy houses for kids. It's going to be awesome, so please attend. And that's my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Patel, please.
Thank you, President. Good evening. I nominated House 157 as the Business of the Month, located at 157 East Westfield Ave. They have continued to support local events, including partnership with local schools and community groups. This past month, they hosted a backpack giveaway filled with school supplies. Thank you, Fate, the owner of House 157, and congratulations on this award. Reminder, the Environmental Commission will be hosting a repair cafe on October 5th at the Roselle Park High School cafeteria. For more details, follow the Commission's Facebook page. That's all I have. If you have any questions, please reach me at kpatel@rosellepark.net.
Councilman Rabina, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Roselle Park. As we bid farewell to summer, I extend my heartfelt wishes for a successful and safe school year to all our students and their families. You may have noticed the Schools Open Drive Carefully signs around our schools. These signs, generously provided by AAA, are a vital reminder for motorists to exercise heightened caution and remain vigilant in school zones, ensuring the safety of our youngest residents. On September 3rd, an alarming incident occurred down the road in Cranford, where a 16-year-old bicyclist was struck by a vehicle at the crosswalk near Lenape Park on Kenilworth Boulevard. Fortunately, the bicyclist was discharged from the hospital, but this serves as a stark reminder of the importance of safety for both drivers and pedestrians. We must all contribute to maintaining a safe environment on our roads. Next week, we will initiate our Street Smart program. This initiative aims to educate the public about traffic laws and promote safe behaviors to reduce accidents and fatalities within our borough. The focus of this study will be on West Webster and Myrtle Avenues. Furthermore, as a member of the Union County Transportation Advisory Board, I would like to inform you that the county engineer is currently awaiting a report from GPI, the consultant working with the NJDOT, on the proposed rail trail project in the 5th Ward. It's anticipated it'll be ready very soon. In recent weeks, I've been actively engaging with constituents to address various concerns, including speeding on Fayette Ave and the need for new and repaired sidewalks. Additionally, we are collaborating with utility companies to resolve an ADA compliance issue in the ward. It is important to note that addressing these safety and traffic calming issues often requires time and a comprehensive approach involving education, engineering, and enforcement. And as Chamber Liaison, I'm working on developing a user-friendly, step-by-step guide for opening a business here in Roselle Park. This guide is expected to be available very soon, thanks to the efforts of Rich Beluccio and Rupin Shaw. As we approach the 23rd anniversary of 9/11, may we never forget all who perished that day, the days and the years that followed, and the families they all left behind. May God bless them, and may God bless June Stark. Lastly, as many of you are aware, I'm running for re-election this November. Having served our community in various volunteer capacities for over 13 years, I'm proud of the progress we have achieved together during my tenure on council. From road improvements, over 90% of the 5th Ward has been resurfaced, to the enhancement of parks and the introduction of new family-friendly events, our collaborative efforts have yielded significant advancements. We've also focused on infrastructure and pedestrian safety, sought out partners for donations and grants to fund improvements at no cost to the borough, and supported local businesses with valuable resources. I'm grateful for the support I have received from many of you and value your feedback and concerns. Please feel free to reach out to me at 862-236-0019, jrabine@rosellepark.net. Thank you, Roselle Park, for your continued support and trust.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Councilman at large.
Thank you. Jay, you stole a couple of mine, but but just I'd like to reiterate on that incident on the boulevard. I kind of rolled up to it a little bit after the fact, and just to remind people, so there's a two-way street here. People on bicycles, I think they have to be careful too, right? And there could be everybody obeying all the rules, stopping, but you need to do your part. The individual didn't have a helmet on, and I did hear from a good source he's going to be okay. But, wear helmets. And you yourself on a bicycle, you should take responsibility too, just not assume everybody's going to stop. And June Stark will be missed. I'd like to concur with that. And we're all praying for Paul DeVito. And that's it. You need to get hold of me, Joe Signorella at rosellepark.net. Have a good evening.
Cool. That actually reminds me of something. Andrew, do we have any money in the Sunshine Fund to send flowers or something now that Paul's back? Or did we do anything yet?
We can have money in the Sunshine Fund. We will work it out, yes.
Okay. For dramatic effect here.
Do you want to explain what the Sunshine Fund is?
Oh, the Sunshine Fund is basically, it's money that we just put in a pot in case, we need to send flowers to somebody or congratulations to somebody. I think you guys know what it is. Maybe the audience doesn't. Yep. Okay. I really don't have a major report. Just good luck to all the students this year, and excited for some of the fall festivities. First Italian Festival is going to be cool, and we got some big stuff cooking up for my favorite holiday, Halloween. So excited for the ramping up of that. Any questions, mayor@rosellepark.net. May I have a motion to open the public portion on any subject matter?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you'd like to come up and speak, you may do so now.
Good evening, Bill Crossett, 412 Galloping Hill
A little
Road.
closer to the mic, Bill, please.
There we go.
Thank you, sir.
I was just wondering if Andrew had a chance to find out about the tree thing that I asked last meeting.
So, Bill, I'm very sorry, I don't have there is an answer, and it's very easy to access. I will call you tomorrow if that's okay.
No problem. I wanted to thank the chief of police for calling both my wife and myself. He was very concerned about what I brought up at the last meeting when I called the non-emergency number, and he's going to see what he can find out about it. And I never did get any kind of comment or response on why all the permit fees have been increased twice in the past year.
Yeah, so I don't know, did we increase permits this year?
So we did, and I could give a little, unless you want to speak.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I can just say, I know historically ours were very low. I mean, they're high around the state, right? So I still don't think ours are high relative. We brought it up to, I think, a county standard, but go ahead, Andrew.
So one of the odd things that I also find odd, just for the record, is the state and the DCA periodically does audits of municipal licensing fees or municipal permit fees. And they give these critiques about what your fees are. And I don't want to say they mandate that you change it, but they will tell you that they're not where they need to be. And so we acted on that as the DCA, which oversees most of the operations for municipal government. So that's one of the reasons. I think that was the most recent reason. Prior to that, I'm kind of going back, I believe it was last year.
Yes.
I think our code official did a comparison to other municipalities and brought us in line.
Okay.
But that would be my response.
But that's a better response. I'm happy to blame the state.
And on this redevelopment plan, and you and I had talked very briefly on the possibility of a hotel, and having been in that industry for 50 years, that location is a very good location for a hotel.
Yeah, my only thing on it, just like candidly as a capitalist and as mayor, like we get extra taxes for hotels too, right? So you get I think it's per unit every time somebody books, so like it's a nice cash
What
flow.
you get is you have to pass a tax for a fee, which is 3% of all the room revenue they bring in.
Yeah, which could add up for a small town.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just as a word of caution, if you got Bill's motor in, Bill can do whatever he wants.
Yep.
Nobody is going to oversee him. But if you require that a franchise goes in there, such as Hampton, Home 2, Holiday Express, all them,
a reputable name,
they get inspected a minimum of 2 times a year by the franchisor. And if they go more than 2 or 3 inspections with a failure, they get their license yanked on them.
Yeah.
And for parking, most of the franchises I've been associated with, parking is 1.5 spaces per room. And they would not want to build for less than 80 to 90 rooms.
Yep.
And if they can only go 3 stories.
Might be limiting. Yeah. Well, look, I think it's something to continue discussing. It'll go to the land use board. I think Rosanna brings up some valid concerns, so we'll have the planner do a little bit more digging on it. And we still have time to amend all of this, which is, it's good feedback.
And I think the right hotel there, such as a Hampton, a Courtyard, something like that, they could help bring business to town. You got the banquet hall right up the street. If you've got relatives coming in from out of town, they got a reputable hotel that they could go and stay at.
And that was kind of the reason that it was asked to be considered is the guy who does the banquet hall, he's like, I send all my hotel business to the Kenilworth Inn.
Yeah.
But anyway, good feedback.
And
Thank
it's
you.
dirty.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Good evening. Eric Kennedy, 327 West Lincoln Ave. I'm here to put something on the record, and I need a yes or no answer. It's very simple. Can you tell me right now that the DPW yard is 100% safe for all employees? Yes or no answer. It's very simple.
I'll defer to council on this.
I don't know if that's a simple question.
And we should trust you. Why?
I didn't say anything other than I don't really know if that's a simple question.
Okay.
if
So you
have a
can't answer
sta-
my question, is what you're
So
saying?
first of all, it's public comment, not public question and answer.
Okay.
So if you want to make a comment,
Public comment then, sorry.
there you
Is
go.
that better?
There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you answer me?
That's a question.
Do you work in this town?
I work for the town.
For the town. Oh.
Andrew, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to this.
I don't think anybody wants to answer to this, because I think we all know the honest question to this. You can roll your eyes, you can do whatever you need to do, but here's the report from 2018 that clearly shows how much stuff was wrong in the building, okay? And nothing was done. These pictures, I can show you pictures from 2 weeks ago that I took that'll match to the same exact thing. 8 people in a row have died of cancer consecutively from that place. One being sick right now, who I just saw the other day. Not that any of you did.
So I don't know if that's true in terms of 8 people consecutively, but
Would you like the names? Because I won't give them to you on a record here, but I can gladly get you them.
I mean, if you feel like politicizing names of people who've died,
I won't do that.
Then you can go for it.
That's why I just told you I'll give
Yeah.
them to you off the record if you
Got
need
it.
them. It's a very simple question.
Look, we have reports on the DBW.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on, I got one better for you. Did you show up at a restaurant 2 Fridays ago and tell people I'm crazy, I'm making stories up about the yard? Did you say that? Yes or no? Another yes or no. Very simple question.
I don't know what this has to do with the borough functioning.
This is a very important town matter.
Okay.
You got 8 people that passed away consecutively that worked in that place.
Mhm.
One who's very, very ill right now.
Yep.
And you're going to wait till now to send him flowers? That's what you're going to do? Has anybody thought to check in with him?
Yeah, I've talked to him several times. Thank you, though.
Have you seen him?
He's been in and out of the hospital. Is this I'm sorry, this is a mayor and council meeting. Is this a referendum on
No, I'm putting
how,
it on the
how
record because
empathetic I
apparently I
am?
can't get an answer anywhere else, so I want this on the record.
Okay.
Because I'm being told that I'm losing my job, I'm being told that I'm losing my benefits. I want it on the record, that's all.
I don't know who's... These are personnel matters. I don't know if we could talk about this at the moment.
It is personnel. Let's move the meeting.
I'm not talking to you, sir.
Through the chair, Councilman.
So, sir, if you're going to start talking about personnel issues, that's not an appropriate topic for
No, I just want it on the record.
And
It's
I'm
very
gonna
simple.
put- and I need to put something on the record, all right? So,
Okay, put it on the record.
So-
Because I could put something else on the record, too. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you finish first. Oh, I'm sure. Go ahead, I'll let you finish.
So I'm going to advise the board that they're not to comment back in relationship to any personnel matters.
Okay.
And that is just by law, it's good practice for the board, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're free to say whatever you want, but I'm advising this board not to engage in a conversation back and forth.
Well,
with
I
you
need to know if I can go
on-
to work. That's what I need.
Again, that's a personnel question.
Okay, so
I'm
where do
gonna-
I find that out?
I'm
Because
going
I've
to
sent multiple
advise-
emails and I'm not getting answers.
It's not a proper discussion for a public
Well, this is where we're going to
forum.
handle it. Unless you want to drag me out of here, this is where we're handling it.
Sir, I'm just going to tell you
I
that.
pay
I'm-
my taxes, I'm a resident of this town, I bust my ass for this town.
Okay. And I'm going to say that.
And nobody's going to take that away from me.
No one's taken anything away from you other than the concept that no one's going to respond to you.
Okay.
All right?
I figured that.
With regard to a personnel matter. This is not the appropriate forum for it.
Oh, I figured that.
So I'm just going to give them that advice. That's
Okay.
my job, unfortunately.
So is it a safe?
If you're out of time, Eric, you
Is
can
it a
sit
safe
there
work
if you'd like
environment or
to.
not? That's
You
what
can.
I'm
You're
asking.
out of time. You can go sit back there.
Is it a
if you
safe work environment or not?
Again,
Eric,
this is
you're
not.
out
Yes
of
or
your
no?
time. Go sit back to your seat, and somebody else can come ask if they want to.
No problem. We'll do that. Thanks for the note.
Would anybody else like to come speak on any subject matter?
How you doing? George Ramirez, 500 East Clay. There's been a lot of dumping of dirt at the DPW.
Okay.
There's been a rumor saying that a lot of that dirt is contaminated. Has that dirt been tested?
I'm not aware of any illegal dumping. I don't know.
No, just, if I may?
Yeah, please.
I didn't call it illegal or,
No, no,
I don't
I
know
just-
if it's illegal.
so-
Well, hold on. I didn't call it illegal or
Okay,
legal. I'm just
dumping.
saying
No, no.
there's-
Yeah, yeah,
There's
sure.
dumping, and I'm just curious to see if it's contaminated. Has it been tested?
So all dirt that moves off-site or onto a site has to come with a tag or has to be tested as to where it comes from, invoices and things of that nature. You can't just move dirt around the state of New Jersey and just take it from somewhere and drop it, right? There are bills of lading and invoices and things that track that. If it came from a contaminated site, it needs to, by law, be tested, know what the contaminant is, and be dropped at an appropriate place that can accept that type of dirt.
What if
So-
it's not a contaminated site? What if it's just a regular site? Like, how do we know if it's contaminated or not?
Understand, you know where the source comes from and things of that nature, right? So I'm just telling you, there is a tracking mechanism as to where the dirt originated from, what truck took it, and where it winds up.
Okay, so say it comes from an unknown, hold on.
It
Say if
never comes from an unknown place.
Say if it comes from a place, but it's unknown whether it's contaminated or not, is a test performed before it's dumped on borough property?
Traditionally, you either engage with a contract with someone.
Okay, let's
right?
not speak in hypotheticals here. Has that dirt that's been dumped at the DPW been tested before it's been dumped there? Let's,
This is a hypothetical scenario. I don't know.
the dirt, there's been dirt that's been dumped at the DPW, correct?
George, not that I'm aware of. So again, you're presenting a hypothetical scenario to the governing body. I would love to answer you. I can't, if you had a specific day, if you had like
I could get you days. I mean, and there's
I'd be
videos
happy
of-
to answer any of your questions.
videos
Yeah,
of
there's a
trucks.
specific instance that you feel like is questionable. I mean, first off, I don't know what you're doing around the DPW, but if you have a specific example, feel free to email it to us and we'll do an investigation.
Well, you guys even joked about, oh, we have a ton of dirt. Didn't you guys talk about?
It's a
few
5-acre property.
No, but a few months ago, you guys talked about this, joked around with it with Paul at
Yep.
the DPW.
There is dirt there.
No, but you joked about it.
There's a
Oh, we
little.
have a ton of
there's
dirt, we have
there's
a lot of that.
Yeah, there's a literal hill, and we've tried to build a new DPW building.
All right, so
And the excavation would take a lot of work. We've had this.
There's videos of dirt being dumped at the DPW. My question is, has that dirt that's been dumped there, has that been tested?
If you send us the videos, then I'm sure we can do an investigation
So
as
you
to whether
don't
or
know
not
if there's been dirt, has any dirt that's been dumped there this past year been tested?
Look, we operate our DPW under the safety standards that are set forth in the state. I can't speak to, I don't personally check all the dirt there, right? But I would assume, Andrew, keep me honest.
Yeah, presumably the answer is yes, but again, without specifics, if there's a one-off where there was something improper done, which is I think what you're implying, we can.
No, I'm not implying anything. I'm just
No, I mean you
curious to
are.
know.
I mean we could argue facts, but I mean you're implying that was this done, was it not done? Presumably, and by borough operation, we operate under the law, right? So the answer to you would be yes. If there is a specific circumstance you want to ask about, provide it. We'll look into it.
We get whistleblowers all the time. If you see something wrong with the government, give us a specific example and we'll look into it.
All right, so you don't, off the top of your head, you don't know that dirt's been dumped there, and you don't know if it's been tested?
I'll be honest, Mayor, if I could, I mean,
Please.
I know we're out of time on this one, but I actually really can't think of a time that I can pinpoint in 2024
Yeah.
when there was a dirt dumping operation.
Okay. All right. So if I email you and I give you specific dates?
Please,
you'd be able
we're
to-
happy to look into it.
I engage with any resident.
Beautiful.
Send it
Thank
over.
you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'm seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public portion?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye. Mayor, could I just address something?
Please, yeah, go for it.
Just for the record.
Yeah.
I respectfully to members of the public, I'm not going to get into a back and forth, but some of the questions that were asked were very serious, and I do want to address them, right? I've heard a lot about this 2018 study, and I want to make sure that we get it on the record, because I've briefed the governing body because this has come up. So in 2018, there was a Department of Public Works employee that passed away. The union, the DPW union at the time, expressed concerns to the administration at the time that there may be an issue at DPW because there was a prior DPW worker who also passed away. Not of the same illness, but similar, I guess, in scope. I don't want to minimize it, but there was a suspicion and a concern by the employees. the borough acted immediately and contracted with an environmental specialist that did a review of the buildings. What they found are summarized as follows. The buildings are not in great condition. We know this. The plan is and has been to knock the buildings down. The second thing they found was that the indoor air quality levels in the buildings at DPW were comparable to the outdoor air quality readings, which means that there were no elevated levels of anything that would be aggravating to respiratory or otherwise of the workers that were in those buildings. To be clear about the DPW is it is a DPW yard, right? It's a Department of Public Works yard. There are gas tanks. There were underground gas tanks at one time. There's a salt dome. There are many things that are of hazardous material that are at the Department of Public Works all the time by virtue of being what it is. There are DEP activity numbers which identify and give an action plan for how to remediate or monitor those contaminants in the ground. We are up on those standards. We have a licensed site remediation professional that track these things. But in terms of that 2018 concern, it was reviewed. There was no action required. There were cosmetic recommendations that were not followed, right? Because the idea was not to invest money in a building that you were ultimately going to knock down. Albeit, the buildings were not knocked down since 2018. They're still standing. However, the health concerns that were expressed were investigated. There was no finding, and there was no action taken. So there was no action taken because there was no action required to be taken. And I want that on the record because it is very serious to claim that a workplace is literally killing people. I take it, I wasn't the administrator in 2018, but I've been in this building more than I've been in any building in my entire life, and I take this job very seriously. I take the employees here very seriously, and I take all of you very seriously because it's your money that I spend every day. So I want that on the record because it's a serious, I'm not going to say it's an accusation, it's a serious concern. So is the Department of Public Works safe? Yes. Is this building safe? Yes. Is the police department safe? Yes. Are there problems in all these buildings? Absolutely. You can hear it for anyone here tonight. There's a beeping for everyone out in
We got it.
camera land. But we try to make it work. We try to keep things as safe as we can. And I think we do a pretty good job. We're not perfect. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, you, do you have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.